Hello and welcome to the Educational Fix podcast. I'm Lyle. Today we have a fix that is based in math manipulatives. Today we're going to be talking about base 10 counters. So essentially, base 10 counters are those little block pieces that are put together in ones. They're combined in stacks of 10, and then they're combined in stacks of hundreds, and then you might even find one that is a cube that is a stack of 1,000. These base 10 counters are very, very useful in helping students conceptualize base 10, how different numbers or digits are placed into different place values. And those place values are a conceptual skill. It doesn't quite make sense to students as they first learn it. And these base 10 counters are something that you're going to mostly be utilizing in elementary school, usually before fourth grade. But they are still very, very important, and even something that you might want to use in fourth grade and fifth grade, and even sixth grade in some cases. But these base 10 counters are very, very useful. They can be used in a number of different ways. You can have students just play with them so that they can understand the skill of having a bunch of ones that when you put them together equals a 10, and then you have 10s that when you put them together it equals 100, and having hundreds that when you put them together they equal 1,000. Having those base 10 counters is very, very important and useful to your classroom, especially for students who are having difficulty understanding the concept of place values and why certain numbers have to go to certain place values, especially when we're doing the addition or subtraction of multiple digit numbers, when we're talking about multiplication. All of those things require an understanding of place value. And having base 10 counters is a very easy way for students to acquire that knowledge and have a conceptual understanding of what that is. So what problem does base 10 counters solve? Base 10 counters solve a lot of issues, especially as it is related to number sense and just understanding how numbers operate and how they work with one another, understanding those place values. It's going to solve issues related to math language that they're having difficulty acquiring, understanding that these are tens and tens are different than ones and ones are different than hundreds and thousands, etc. Having those visual representations are also very useful. Like I've mentioned, understanding the abstractness or the conceptual nature of numbers and place values. They're very, 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 very useful. A lot of times when it comes to the structure of math lessons and how everything builds on one another, it's really, really difficult to build on certain skills without that basic conceptual understanding. Certain skills don't make sense to build on another one if you don't have an understanding of place value, if you don't have an understanding of base 10, and being able to interact with base 10 counters, being able to, once you pull everything back and say we're not just looking at numbers on paper, think about base 10, think about hundreds and thousands, they're going to be able to have a conceptual understanding of what that is. They're going to be able to have that conceptual understanding of this is what 1,000 pieces looks like. This is what 100 pieces looks like. That's much bigger. This is much smaller. When I add these small pieces together, they're the same as a big hundreds place. If I add 100 ones together, if I add 10 tens together, it's going to be equal to 100 as well. Having that conceptual understanding of the equality of numbers and the difference of numbers and the size of numbers is very, very, very important to improving students' general understanding and number sense. Oftentimes that conceptual understanding impedes a lot of lessons, and it keeps students from learning, and it makes teachers frustrated because they're not exactly sure what they're not understanding about the concept when they've repeated it and other students are picking it up very quickly. Some students don't even require base 10 counters to have a conceptual understanding, but some students do. Some students really need to see there's a difference in size between these numbers and what these place values actually represent in order for them to utilize them effectively. So how do you implement base 10 counters into your classroom? The first thing I would say is, like any manipulative that a student is utilizing, I would give them a chance to play with it. I would give them a chance to have it on their desk, to look at it, to have some free time and just interact with these materials to say, okay, this is 1, and then this is a 10. Oh, look, it's divided into 10 pieces. If I line them up, they're equal. Giving them that opportunity before you actually give a lesson is very, very important for students. It allows them to explore and make connections in their own brains in an effective way, in ways that often teachers cannot explain to them. So giving students that opportunity first is really important. And then allow them to use those base 10 counters in a number of different activities is important as well. For instance, you can use them as centers. You can have students take a number and show it to the teacher or show it to a peer or display it on their desk using those base 10 counters. Grabbing a bunch of 10s to make the number 80, and then grabbing 2 1s to make a 2, and now you have the number 82. Doing the same things with hundreds and thousands. You can also have students line them up and show an equivalency. I want you to make a number that is equal to 20. How many pieces of this size would you need? How many pieces of that size would you need? Making it a game. Having students model for an equation. What number are we talking about? Can you show this with counters? Can you show it without counters? Can you show me what the number is that I'm displaying with the counters? Doing these types of activities with students helps them build that holistic understanding, that conceptual math sense that they're going to need in order to be effective and in order for them to acquire new knowledge effectively as it relates to math. So again, this could be a whole group activity. It could be a center, but having students interact with, play with, and then do activities with based on counters is very important. Thank you for joining the Educational Fix podcast. I hope that you use this fix in your classroom today. If you're interested, please check out my book, Thriving Special Education. See you soon.